Canada's breathtaking tourist spots like Niagara Falls, its quality education institutes such as the University of BC, and orderly governance have traditionally invited immigrants to this beautiful country. And Canada's appeal as an immigration destination has been increasing over the past 2 decades. But wait, since 2021, this trend is gradually changing. 13,100 people recently left the country in the first quarter of 2022. That's a 42% increase from the same quarter last year. Now, you might think that COVID-19 and the subsequent economic spillover might be the culprit. While this is partly true, there are actually much bigger reasons why immigrants are moving out of Canada. Stay until the end of this video to know the truth about Canada's immigration crisis and what Justin Trudeau has to do with all this. Canada has a booming population growth rate, and the country is welcoming to immigrants, depicting a symbol of multiculturalism. But this rate is suffocating, as in recent years, people are actually leaving the country. In fact, the emerging brewing crisis has made non-Canadians think that they're not fairly treated, and this is best manifested in their escape from 3 provinces known for high-skilled labour and pricey real estate. 47.1% have left from Ontario, followed by 20.4% from BC and 13.5% from Alberta. But why have immigrants who were enjoying the benefits of the Canadian economy suddenly left and decided to call it a day? Let me simplify it further. The first pressing issue is the high taxation rate with no relief in sight. Well, Albert Einstein once said that the hardest thing in the world to understand is income tax, and Ann Landers uttered these words of wisdom that a person doesn't know how much he has to be thankful for until he has to pay taxes on it. This holds true to Canada as well, where the more you earn, the more you pay. For instance, if a person earns $60,000 per annum, he has to pay a tax of $15,000, taking back home $45,000. Moreover, in 2021, the Broadbent Institute and the Professional Institute for the Public Service of Canada surveyed to explore public opinion on tax fairness. The results found that 62% of Canadians described Canada's tax system as unfair, while only 14% believed it was fair. Thus, with such a regressive tax system, Canadian immigrants are leaving. By the way, do you want to stay updated about economics and global markets? Then give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me to grow the channel and bring you the best content about investing. The high cost of living is another reason for this outflow of immigrants. Most of the commodities in Canada are expensive, and it's become difficult to live a decent life. The gravity of the situation can be further gauged from the fact that getting a cheap house in the country is now a far cry, and the health and car insurances are pretty costly too. According to the national survey conducted by Ledger for the Institute for Canadian Citizenship, 30% of new Canadians aged 18 to 34 and 23% of university-educated new Canadians said that they're likely to move to another country in the next 2 years. So, no roof over the head and no food in the belly. Only option? Leave the country. Along with that, discrimination against skilled immigrants in the Canadian labour market is also prevalent. Newcomers feel disenchanted because they're faced with a lack of promotions in the organisations that they work. Employers don't promote international human resources in certain positions. Students from top US universities who would normally have no issues getting a quality job struggle in Canada to land in top companies. Despite having extra courses to their name, they find it hard to get the desired results. And when they do get a job, they're sidelined in important meetings. On the other side, Canadian multinational corporations are on record saying that immigrants are not able to express themselves properly in interviews. Thus, it becomes difficult to provide them with senior positions. In comparison, top US companies have many CEOs of non-American origins. Musk from Tesla, Sundar Pichai from Google, and many more. See Canada, you need to learn from your neighbours. The situation doesn't end here. Another challenge is the earning differences between the immigrants and the Canadian-born. Perhaps being Canadian-born gives you an advantage in communication skills and overall education than their counterparts. But it's seen that many immigrants earn less than Canadian-born workers, even with the same amount of education and work experience. And on top of all this, Canada's facing a massive housing shortage. The lack of affordable houses has also compelled immigrants to say goodbye to this country. Buying a house in a cosmopolitan city like Toronto is a dream for many. With record low mortgage rates increasing Canadian home prices by 52% and fewer rental options, it's become difficult to get a house at affordable prices. As Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. But many citizens believe that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has failed to live up to this responsibility. Yes, we agree that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown, but still, the Prime Minister has to come up with economic policies to solve the problems of the Canadians. The situation is evident looking at the inequality in this country. With elites controlling the majority of the wealth, people from low-income groups think that Trudeau's government hasn't done enough to make life more affordable and ensure everyone pays their fair share in taxes. See this statistic. Over the past 20 years, the incomes of the bottom 60% of Canadians have stagnated, while growing sharply for the highest 20%. And Canada ranks 20th among 34 wealthy developed nations in managing income inequality. Rebukes from the UN on human rights in Canada have also forced immigrants to find a new destination. You'll be shocked to know that despite supposedly having one of the most liberal constitutions in the world, Canada's performances on key human development indicators are terrible. It's been scolded by the World Food Programme for failing to meet its international obligations to provide Canadians with food. In terms of civic rights, the 2016 report by the UN observed that Canadian women in general, and female immigrants in specific, suffer multiple forms of discrimination in access to employment, housing, education, and healthcare. Plus, it also pointed out that the government lacked a comprehensive strategy to curb these senseless sufferings. What to do? Well, first of all, the government needs to step up and get its priorities straight. The failure of the Canadian government to respond to these problems requires the mobilization of the public to force them to act. Seriously, people need to demand their inalienable rights and highlight the fact that migration is a fundamental human right. No sort of discrimination against anyone can be allowed. And, by investing in humans and providing rights to the immigrants, long-term Canadian development can be secured. But what do you guys think? Do you think Trudeau will be able to stop his citizens from moving out? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch our previous video about why the Russian economy is about to collapse, and don't forget to click that subscribe button. I make videos like this every week where I uncover the secrets of money and markets.